In September, I was in Colorado elk hunting and got back after one of my evening hunts and noticed that this vibration damper on my Mathews was missing. So for a short-term fix, I actually 3D printed the actual damper and then a similar weight and put it in there to have something in there to see if it would make any difference. I don't like this because the TPU that I use is too hard. It doesn't have a lot of dampening qualities, but it filled up the hole. It was kind of a fun little project, but it really didn't work out the way I wanted to. I guess the weight would work pretty good, but I would suggest if you're going to use the weight to just go buy the Mathews damper. You can get that for like $15. I went and actually got the actual Mathews full set. The Mathews full set, which is this EHS taper Nano 740 black, part number 80746, and that is their enhanced harmonic stabilizer, right? So I've read up that a lot of these things are kind of popping out, but you can see this one's really soft. It's got a pretty heavy, I'm assuming it's a brass weight in there, and I don't really like what happened here. This is the first time ever in any bow that I've owned over the years, probably 10 of them, that a part from the OEM bow fell out. And this is clearly an issue because Mathews puts these on the shelf for you to buy, and they're like $45, which, I mean, this thing is a ridiculous piece of equipment for $45. So needless to say, not too happy. I reached out to them and they're like, oh, too bad, so sad. So what I'm going to do here is put this in there. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make it better, and hopefully we don't lose it again. What we're going to do is put this back in, but instead of just put it back in, I'm going to glue it in, and I'm going to use this E6000. This stuff adheres to just about anything. It's basically shoe goo. If even you've used that, you probably use that as well. And I'm going to put that on both surfaces. So I'm going to put that in the surface here. I'm also going to put it on the surface of the dampener metal portion here to the rubber so that it can't pop out. I don't think it would pop out from that position ever, frankly, because it's pretty tight in there. What happens, excuse me, is when you're setting on something, you set this down, something pushes on here, and it'll unseat this, and then it'll pop out. So that's kind of the method what's happening. All right, I got my E6000 opened up, top's open, and I've got my little nano button popped out here. I'm going to put a little glue in here, right in the center, just a little, and then I can spin it. You want to put it on the metal part because got to slide it through this. You don't want glue all over. I made that mistake already once. So learn from my mistakes. We're going to slide this over. It's going to go nice and clean. And then we're going to spin it in there to get the glue evenly distributed across everything. And now I've got this set in here. I'm going to make sure that it's nice and centered. I don't want it to be offset at all when this glue. So you can see kind of this, you can look at it with your eye. You'll see if it's off center or not when it's rotated all the way around. And I'm going to probably, you know what, I'm actually going to let this dry first because it's a lot easier to see it centered now than it is when it's in the bow. So I'm going to let this dry to make sure that this ring is centered all the way around this weight. And then we'll come back when this is dry, probably give it a day, and then we're going to glue it into the bow. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to clean up or close up my glue cap. And one thing that I learned over the years is, so you don't have your glue or your silicones dry out, take a piece of plastic, like whether it's a Ziploc bag or saran wrap or just any thin polyfilm, and put that over the top before you put your cap on. And then just put your cap on. And you don't have to put quite as hard because you do have another surface in there. Do that. And this will never dry out. All right, well, now we're back. The dampener here is all glued up. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of this. Now, I'm going to put some glue on my finger and get it up into this groove here. There's a groove inside the riser that's machined in that this rubber sits in. And it's a little easier just to do it with your finger than the tube end. Get it up in there. You don't have to get it everywhere. I mean, we don't have to be obsessive with glue, just a little bit. And now I want to make sure that I have this thing set up and ready to drop in there. I'm going to get one corner in and then just work it around. It pops in there pretty easy, and as I learned, it pops out pretty easy too. I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, just regular old hunting, and come back and find that this thing is gone. So I'm going to spin this a little bit. Now if you're a guy that's obsessed about having everything lined up, the inner part no longer spins, so you're going to want to set your Nano 740 righting straight perpendicular with your bow or whatever you want it. So I'm going to have to do that now before this dries. So I'm going to leave this sit here, let that dry up, and then the last step here is going to be going and taking a little piece of fishing line or string or whatever you want, dental floss, and putting a string around here. So I have this, this is actually bowstring. This is Dacron, old school Dacron bowstring. I use it for taxidermy to sew up hides with. So I'm just going to drop a little bit down here. This stuff is, one strand of it is, I don't know, like 70-pound test or something at least. It's incredibly strong. So we're going to use one loop there. So I'm just going to do an overhand knot here, or a couple of them. That on there. And clip off the tag end. If I notice that the string's off, well, I'll put a new one on. Not too concerned about that though. And there we have it. We now have a Mathews enhanced harmonic stabilizer tied in, glued in, and hopefully staying in. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.